Hey y'all. Hey y'all. We're doing this again where we are having TikTok live and we are having YouTube live. So we will see how this goes. Hey y'all. How are y'all doing over here? I got 3 people on YouTube and I don't know how many people on TikTok. I can't see. Well. All right. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Okay. So first, we're going to be talking about the Aquarius full moon that happens on the 19th. I believe it's the 19th, which is probably Sunday. I'll verify that in a minute. But also just kind of like some energy that is leading up to this full moon and also how it's going to be impacting this full moon. And you are experiencing a lot of that right now. So we're going to be talking about that also. And then we are going to be diving into readings for all zodiacs. So we're going to start with Aries and work our way all the way through Pisces on those readings. And then, of course, y'all can ask me questions. I will do my best to answer both platforms as much as I possibly can. So, yeah, thank y'all for the hearts over here in TikTok land. Thank y'all for joining me here on the live on YouTube. So, with that being said, I normally try and like wait like 5 minutes to let people get in, but I'm not doing that because it's going to be not on TikTok, but it's definitely going to be saved on YouTube. So all of y'all on TikTok land, if y'all want to watch it over again, it'll be saved on YouTube, so you can watch it as long as you possibly can. It'll be under the live section on my YouTube page. But yeah, so I'm just going to dive right on into it and not waste any of y'all's time because it is a Thursday and I know back to school is underway for me and I need to get done with this so I can get them kids in the bed. And I'm sure some of y'all probably have the same experience that I do. All right. So yeah, we have 5 people that have now joined us on YouTube and a plethora. So there's 6 now on TikTok. So with that being said, let me pull up my little notes. I'm going to let y'all know what's happening in. All right. So, all right, we are going to be, hey y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. All right, so we're about to dive right on in. All right. So, full moon that is happening is on the 19th. So, in 4 days, you can probably feel the energy of this full moon that's already here, right? It's at 27 degrees Aquarius. So, really potent energy. It's on the 19th. And Aquarius is all about like innovation. It's about your individuality. It's also about, the collective energy and what we have as an individual that we can bring to our collective, right? Bring to everyone else, our community, in order to kind of like help, right? And expand and innovate the community, right? So that's what this full moon is really going to be illuminating right now. So the individuality and how we can engage with our communities. And it's really going to be powerful. It's powerful in a way that you can probably feel the tension. You can feel like this intense vibe that's going on because there's like many moments of like realizations that are happening, many moments of clarity that's happening right now with this Aquarius energy. Hey, KB. So there's just a lot going on. It's very powerful. And especially in particular, like with balancing like our personal expression and our collective needs, right? And the reason why I say that with the personal expression, because opposite of Aquarius is Leo, right? And so Leo has a lot to do with your personal expression, your individuality, your self-expression, your creativity. It's very much so that sacral energy, but also kind of like that solar energy because it's ruled by the sun. So it's your solar plexus also. So it's that confidence in being able to, express yourself. And so having to find that balance between your personal expression as well as your collective needs, right? The needs of your community, the needs of other people, your friends, your social networks. That's kind of like what's being highlighted during this full moon. Now, a little background about what full moons are about. They resonate, with the energy of releasing, right? Of letting something go. And we can see the culmination because that's what a full moon is. It's a culmination of something, right? Something comes to a head, something comes to its fullness. And that's why we got this full moon. So we come to this full energy of this full moon in Aquarius in order to kind of recognize how far we have come, how far we still have to go, what needs to be released, what needs to be let go, and how do we make those adjustments to move forward, okay? Now, in particular, with this full moon, like I mentioned, it's in Aquarius. So that highlight of like other people and community and friendships and networking and all that, innovation, all those Aquarius themes are really highlighted. But also, there's going to be a T square with the sun that's in Leo, and also Uranus that's in Taurus, right? So, what does that look like? Let me tell y'all what that looks like. So, you have these three planets. So what makes a full moon is the sun and moon in opposition, right? So they are 180 degrees away from each other, right? So the sun is currently in Leo because we're in Leo season. The moon is currently in Aquarius. So they are in opposition. Okay. And so that's already one aspect, that opposition, where you have to find balance between the two, which is what I was just speaking about with the balance between your personal expression and collective needs. Right. So then you add this third element of this T square energy, where those two planets, they make squares, which are 90-degree angles to Uranus. Right. So Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So it looks like literally a triangle, and they are feeding off of one another, right? So that triangle is called a T square in astrology. And so it's basically made up of an opposition, which is 180 degrees, and two squares. So a square from the moon to Uranus and Taurus, and a square from the sun to Uranus and Taurus. Okay. So that creates tension. And then when you put it in connection with a planet like Uranus, Uranus is upheaval, Uranus is shocks and surprises, it's unexpected things. Hey, Chanel. Um, it is it brings innovation, right? It's the ruler of Aquarius, right? So that's also what's adding to this energy. It's ruling the sign. So the dispositor is a whole big word that they use, right, in astrology, but it's basically the ruler of this moon is Uranus, because it's in modern astrology, it's the ruler of Aquarius. And also in traditional astrology is Saturn, but that's getting in the weeds. I don't care about that right now. Anywho, so when you have these two energies going towards Uranus, right, and it's emphasizing and it's adding to the energy of this full moon, it's going to bring unexpected, shocks and surprises. It's going to bring unexpected news and transformations that are necessary to happen, right? Uranus is coming through to shake some stuff up, right? You got to shake it up in order sometimes to make some sense of liberation. In order to create change, you have to shake the table a little bit, right? So that's what Uranus is doing. And it's making this T square, so it even adds even more to the tension. And so when you think about that, it's in Taurus. Taurus is about the things that are stable and makes us feel secure. Taurus don't like change, right? Because they like things to be the same. They like it to be stable. They like it to feel secure. They want their money to keep flowing. They want their food to be decadent. Like that Taurus energy is all about those comforts that make us feel safe, right? So it's your food, it's your taste, it's your money, it's your relationships. So all of those things are kind of creating this tense vibe, okay? So with that, T square energy with this full moon, not only are we being guided to release and let go of something, but we're also kind of like being forced to do so, right? Because that Uranus energy is like, shake this table, you got to break free, and we can hold on to things, especially with that Taurus energy. We don't want to let certain things go. So it's bringing in that fixed energy of, I don't want to let go. So it's Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, all fixed signs. They don't want to let go. They like things to be stable and secure. And, finding that harmony between our unique self and the role of larger society, the role of the world, so to speak, and then us needing to kind of make changes within ourselves in order to see that change external of us. That's what we're really experiencing right now. Now, also, we'll get into what this means for us individually, but all of these things are happening in different areas of our charts, right? So everybody has Aquarius somewhere in their chart. Everyone has Taurus somewhere in their chart. Everyone has Leo somewhere in their chart. So all of these three things are happening in three different areas of your life. Okay, so with that being said, you are probably experiencing a cluster of emotions and a lot of tense energy is happening. So the involvement of this also is kind of like incorporating the Venus energy, because Venus is in Virgo. Jupiter and Mars are both in Gemini. So now it's adding in the mutable energy, right? So that mutable energy, there's also a T square with that, with those three things. So that mutable energy is, yeah, it has been super intense, Brianna, like for real. So that mutable energy is also about being adaptable. So it's helping us to kind of like flow with the punches as best as we possibly can, flowing with the changes and just kind of going with whatever we can, whatever cards are being dealt to us. But it's really like thinking outside the box, because that mutable energy is very intellectual. It's very airy, right? You got the Venus and Virgo, and you have Jupiter and Mars both in Gemini. So it's all about like mental energy. So like paying attention to details and making sure that you are not overlooking or missing steps, making sure you're planning things, making sure you are allowing your ideas to come to fruition, making sure that you are pausing before you take action, right? Because Mars and Gemini tends to just pop off a lot. So, it's just these things. Also, they are making an aspect with Saturn that's retrograde in Pisces, also a mutable sign. So all of these energies are making another T square. So we have two T squares going on with this moon. One is in a mutable energy, one is in a fixed sign. So we don't know if we're coming or going. Like it's part of us that we know need to change, but the other part of us need to stay the same, but we just don't know exactly what parts. Part of our lives need to change, or need some restructuring, need some reevaluation, but we don't know which part. So all of this is happening right now. So if you feel a little all over the place, it's normal. Things are happening for you. So just kind of like be as patient as you possibly can. That's what Saturn retrograde is telling us and trying to teach us, that we have to be patient before we can actually reach our goals, before we can actually obtain the things. I'm ready to slap people. Taurus, Sun, Aquarius rising with a Leo man. Bless your heart. Ooh, bless your heart. That is so funny. Yeah. So learning how to stay quiet until it comes. Yes, be patient, right? Because Mars and Gemini will have you going all the way off on people. I get it. Okay. So we're trying to flow with the energy that has been given to us at this time. So it's really just compelling us to align what we desire with our responsibilities. And also it's kind of like prompting this significant personal and collective growth, because that's what's going to happen at the end of all this. Things are going to change, and ultimately we are going to grow. That's the energy that squares bring, right? Those 90-degree angles that I was talking about. Ultimately, yeah, they're challenges, but they provide the most growth, right? So, yeah, you can grow through pleasant experiences, true, yeah, but for the most part, we all grow through adversity, and that's what those challenging squares bring. All right, so do we have any questions? Because I also want to talk about something that's really important. I gave a quick video on it on my TikTok and my Instagram and Facebook, but I want to talk about this other energy that's playing a role with this Aquarius full moon. But before we do that, do I have any questions? Let me go back and look at TikTok land, see if y'all have anything. Yes. Okay. Y'all good over there? All right. YouTube folks, what we doing? Where we at? Y'all doing good over here? All right. So y'all have any questions? Because this is a live Q&A, so y'all ask me questions too, but make sure that they are about this energy. If y'all want a reading, y'all know where to find me. My link is in the bio on all platforms. Book a reading. Okay. We'll talk only about this energy. All right. And if you see Nada here, someone by the name of Nada, Nata, That is my, she's moderating for me, but that is my director of marketing. So she will be here for that. All right. All right. No questions. All right. Let's go on. All right. So now what I really want to talk about is this great conjunction energy, right? So what I'm calling it is the great conjunction fast forward. All right. I'm going to tell y'all what I mean. I'm going to try my best to go through this and not confuse y'all. Okay. Now, the Great Conjunction, I'm sure if y'all are a little bit familiar with astrology, or if you have been following it for at least the last 4 years, you would probably have heard about the Great Conjunction. So the Great Conjunction happened December 21st of 2020. It was on the winter solstice when it happened. It's a really big thing. It is when Saturn and Jupiter came into a conjunction. So a conjunction is when two or more planets come together, same sign, same degree, or they are within 9 degrees of each other. All right. Now, in this case, Saturn and Jupiter came into an exact conjunction, meaning that they were both at 0 degrees of Aquarius back on December 21st of 2020. So when this happened, this was a like cosmic reset that happened to trickle down on the world, right? Leaning into Pisces and Sagittarius energy. Is it the way to handle this? Yes, we'll get into that, Nina. So, yeah, so talking about this conjunction real quick. So, with that great conjunction, how is this kind of like panning out today? So every 4 years we see a time like of restructuring. We see a time of where you have to kind of like reevaluate societal norms and the societal structures and things like that, long-term goals, collective consciousness, yada yada yada, right? And that's what this brought about with this great conjunction that happened in 2020. Now, it was more so like a powerful reset of those societal things, your long-term goals. Now, wherever Aquarius is in your chart is where this happened. And we'll go over that today when we go into the readings for all 12 signs. All right. So when it happened at 0 degrees, the 0 degrees is like a very potent number. It's one of the most powerful degree points in astrology. Is either going to be 0 degrees or 29 degrees. Those are one of the most powerful degrees in astrology. So happening at 0 degrees is literally like a brand new beginning is happening. Okay. So when this happened, it created this rare alignment between Jupiter and Saturn, right? And it also began a new 20-year cycle, right? So for the next 20 years, we are going to be seeing how this pans out, right? That conjunction, what new beginning that began in December of 2020 and how it pans out. Now, every 4 years is like a checks and balances of how far we're going, how far we've come, how much more we have to go. If we need to make change, if we need to innovate something, are we thinking, about making some forward thinking ideals or changes, breaking free from, certain aspects. And in this case, being that it is in Aquarius, it has a lot to do with the restrictive and outdated systems, right? So fast forward to today. We are witnessing the opening square of that great conjunction. Now, what do I mean? Let me teach y'all. All right. So with the opening square, so like I said, they come together, they are conjunct. Now, as time moves on, every 4 years, they space apart, they move into different signs and so on and so forth. So now these two planets are exactly 90 degrees away from each other, right? So we have Jupiter that is currently in Gemini, and we have Saturn that is currently in Pisces, and they are 90 degrees away from each other, both immutable signs. When they came together, they were in a fixed sign. Now they are 90 degrees apart, which is a square. We just learned about squares. Now, that square is all about challenges, so that way it can create change. Now, it's an immutable sign, which is about being adaptable. Okay, so this square is a pivotal moment for us to really like see what's unfolding with this cycle, right? So in this time, it's like, okay, challenges. What can we change? Now it's with Jupiter, so it's not as intense. However, it still is a very intense cycle where it's like your intentions that you set during that December 2020 time are now being tested, right? You're now having to face some adjustments that are needed. You're now having to refine some of those plans that you made, right? So those squares, like I said, they represent friction. right? They represent a need for decisive action, right? They also represent bringing challenges that require us to confront any misalignments or any inconsistencies or any missteps that we have maybe taken. Okay, Nina. So this is where that Sagittarius energy, right, and that Pisces energy will come into play. So I'm going to go back and see what I was writing in my journal around that time. Absolutely, yes. That's why it's important to journal. All right. So speaking from a future therapist, I'm gonna tell everybody journal. Make sure you write it down because cycles, they teach us a lot. Okay. So this is when we lean into that Sagittarius and that Pisces energy, like Nina was talking about. So Sagittarius is about your ideals, right? Your beliefs. Do you really believe what you believe, right? Is it in alignment with who it is that you truly are? All right. The Pisces energy is about compassion and being able to kind of like, lean into your intuition and trusting yourself. So it's all about that. And also that Pisces energy is about letting certain things dissolve, right? So that's where we are needing to lean into this energy. Now, this is affecting this moon because the moon is happening in Aquarius. This great conjunction that happened back in 2020 was also in Aquarius. So it's showing us not only how far we've come, but also what we need to let go with this full moon. Okay, so take that action that's needed, recognize the misalignments and the inconsistencies and the changes that are needed at this time. Now, this particular square that's happening in these mutable energies, right? It's a lot to do with, that Gemini. So your ideas, your communication, how you think, your perception, right? Saturn is there in Pisces. So that's emphasizing the need to kind of be adaptable in our approach and also trust our intuition. So just kind of use the mutable energy that's present, to be flexible and also being willing to let go of rigid beliefs, rigid ideas, outdated structures, things that are possibly hindering your growth, right? So letting those things go. Jupiter and Gemini is really focused on expanding our communication, expanding our ideas, and how we can be adaptable within our communities and with other people, right? Because Gemini is all about relating. How do you relate to this person? How do you relate to your environment? How you relate to this thing or that thing, right? So now, a little bit more about this conjunction that's now in this opening square. So 4 years later, here we are. So 2020, we were in a conjunction. 4 years later, we're in a square. In another 4 years, in 2028, we will be in a trine. So Jupiter and Saturn will then be trining. Now, trines are favorable. Okay. So they bring, from the work that you've done, they just kind of like the destined thing that was just, supposed to happen. You've definitely been feeling like your beliefs have been tested, but it's becoming clear. Yep, absolutely. So, in 2028, we will be experiencing a trine, and trines are very supportive. So it's like the thing that's just destined to happen from the intentions that we set in 2020. In the next 4 years, we're going to see the manifestations of those things come to fruition more so. You're going to be able to kind of like reap more of those benefits, right? Jupiter Saturn trine is really favorable, right? Because they both provide blessings. That's something that we aren't really speaking about when it comes to Saturn. Saturn is like, if you do the work, if you're disciplined, if you, do everything that I'm asking of you, I'm going to provide you with lifelong, even maybe generational gifts. Jupiter provides blessings and gifts, and it's all about abundance. And the difference between the two is that Jupiter can provide you blessings that can be fleeting. However, Saturn, when it provides you blessings, it's lifelong, it's generational, right? It's things that you can never, really taking things away from you, right? It's nothing that really like leaves. It's with you, it's with your generations. So, whether it's monetary, whether it's something internal, whether it's whatever it is, Saturn can provide you those gifts, right? Those blessings. And with Saturn and Jupiter both working together, it's really great energy. And they typically don't work well together, but they do in this case. So, it's really going to be evident in about another 4 years of societal developments. So we're thinking about this collectively. We're going to see in about another 4 years the changes on a societal level that's happening. We're going to see changes like within the elections that's happening, because if you notice, it said 4 years, 2020, 2024, 2028 elections. If you want to get into politics, there you go. And that's just not here, that's everywhere, right? So we think about the shifts in leadership that happens, the changes in regulation that happen every 4 years, but every 2 years we have a sextile, right? So they move to about 45 to 60 degrees during that time, and it's like testing, like, oh, some little work has been done, there you go. And every 2 years we have our elections, our local elections, our local voting time or whatever. So I'm just putting it into perspective so y'all can kind of see what happens on an internal level, on an individual level, but also on a collective level in this world, how it works, how these rhythms work, because it's just what it is. It's rhythms, it's cycles. Okay. So with that, over the next 4 years, we are going to see, we're making the changes now. We are adjusting right now because it is necessary to make those adjustments right now, because in the next 4 years, you want to receive what you want to receive. Okay. I'm just going to put it like that. You don't want to have anything that's hindering you. You don't want to have anything that's holding you back. Okay. So keep that in mind. So do we have any questions before we get into the readings for all 12 signs? Any questions? Any comments? Oh, thank you, Key. Oh, that's my friend. Hey, y'all. All right. Hey, Lady Element. Spiritual lifestyle. Oh, thank you for the rose. Oh. All right. Let's see. Oh, you're on both. I see what you're doing, girl. Thank you so much. All right. Hey, Key. Appreciate you for giving us the free notch. Of course. Yes, I'm on YouTube. Thank you so much. All right. Y'all ready to get into these readings for all 12 signs? Hey, Vanessa. All right. Thank you for the gift. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go over that in a minute. Okay, Key? All right. So if y'all ready, I'm about to dive into it. So I'm going to start, of course, with Aries, and I'm going to work my way all the way through to Pisces. All right. So before we dive into this, just to give y'all how y'all supposed to listen. Okay. So always listen for your sun, moon, and your rising sign. Okay. So I would say listen for all three, because it gives you a very well-rounded understanding of what the energy is coming for you. Okay. So first and foremost, your rising is most accurate. It will tell you exactly where this energy is happening in your chart. Okay, so tell me what house it is. I use whole sign astrology when I'm doing these type of general readings and more predictive astrology. So this is going to all be whole sign in this reading. All right, so secondary will be your sun sign. Your sun represents your focus, it represents your goals, it represents your career, things like that, maybe some authority figures. And if you are more masculine in energy, it will represent more so with you. It will like resonate more so with masculine energies. And then last but not least will be your moon sign. So your moon sign is more internal, it's more subjective, it's more so about your home, your family life, your current living situations. And if you are more feminine in your expression, then it will resonate more with you on that front. Okay. So I would listen to them. In this case, in no particular order, but all three resonate in a different way. So you might hear some things that are resonating with you in all three aspects. That's to be, expected, because they all three represent different parts of you and different parts of your life. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Hey, Mama Ravi. Hey, Ravi. All right. So here we are. We're going to start off with Aries. Do we have any questions before we dive into Aries, sun, moon, and rising? All right, here we go. Let's get it. All right, so you finally made it. I know, I'm happy that you're here, Robbie. All right. So sun, moon, and rising. This is Aries. So this Aquarius full moon is happening in your 11th house. So this is about friendships, groups, your aspirations. It's about your social networks. It's about material gains. This is about your long-term goals, right? So it's really a time for you to reflect on your role within your social circles, within your community, reflect on your goals that you set 4 years ago. And it's a time to really reassess what those long-term goals and aspirations are. Reassess your friendships, reassess your connections, reassess who it is that you are trying to be or become, because you already are that person. You just got to step into that timeline and get out of your way. Make those necessary adjustments, release those outdated ideals, even release those people that no longer need to be in your life because they are not in alignment with who it is that you are to this day. All right. So that way you can move forward into what you desire for yourself. Now, I would encourage you all, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, to engage with groups, different causes that resonate with your values. You can collaborate with other individuals. You can collaborate with other groups, things that's going to lead to like significant progress in your long-term goals, in your material gains, in the things that you want to acquire for yourself, right? So also when it comes to like your friendships and your community, your social network, your long-term aspirations, all those things. So it's highlighting that right now. So you might see like a lot of emphasis on that. And with the sun also being in your fifth house, there's a need to like balance your personal creativity, your joy, the even maybe your children, if you have children, your romantic life with your commitments to groups and different causes, right? And this is me speaking to my Aries moon right now, not even realizing it. So, also keep in mind that Uranus is here in your second house. Okay. And so with Uranus being in your second house, it adds that financial unpredictability. And also it's about your values changing and shifting with who you are developing yourself to be. It's urging you to innovate your approach to resources. And that T square that's there between those three planets is really challenging you to integrate your values with your community involvement. While Venus is in your sixth house, and Mars and Jupiter in your third house. I'm like having to see this in my brain. It's in your third house. They are really telling you to have effective communication and focus on your service to others, and really think about what it is that you think, right? Your ideas, your beliefs, really think about all of those things and take the action to make those changes where you see fit. Do it now, because in the next 4 years, you don't want to miss any steps. You don't want to be back in the same spot having to redo or having to make changes when you could have just done it right now, right? You could be in a completely different space in the next 4 years, okay? So that is Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Do we have any questions before we move on to Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising? Any questions, any comments? Let's see. All right, we're going to move on. Let's go to Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right, so you've been focusing on that while I have this downtime. Ooh, yes. What are you releasing? Are you Aries? Say it with Saturn. Are you an Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising? So basically, just to kind of like recap, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, if you are any of those, what you're really working on releasing is not only just the ideas, the thoughts, and all those things, and your values that no longer resonate with you, but you will be releasing, friendships. You will be releasing any goals that you set that aren't necessarily resonating with who it is that you are, those type of things. It could be friendships, could be affiliations with large groups, and maybe even social media things, right? Because 11th house is social media. So those type of things, friendships, groups, aspirations, your social network. It's a time to reassess what your goals are and let go of anything that does not align. All right. So moving on to Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right. So this is happening in your 10th house. All right, so here we are. I'm a Taurus rising. Y'all should know that by now. I keep talking about it. So With Taurus Sun and Rising, this is in your career, your public image, your responsibilities to the world. This is about your direction in life. Um, yeah, it's about your social status. So you're very welcome, Saturn. Um, this has a lot of impact on your focus when it comes to like your career and your public image, right? So this full moon is really illuminating the Taurus energies, professional achievements, and their future goals. Okay. All right. So balancing like the personal, your personal life goals with your professional demands, right? Because that energy is in an opposition to your fourth and your 10th house. So considering your long-term goals, your long-term impact of your career path. So it's really like going back to the drawing board to make sure that what you are trying to achieve in your career, your public image, your social status is actually what it is that you are really wanting in the future, right? So the full moon is activating that 10th house, and whatever goals you set out to obtain in 2020, like December 2020, so the end of 2020, it's like, hey, your career goals that you set out for, are you in alignment with them? Are you on path with them? If not, let go anything that is not keeping you in that path. It's not helping you with that career. It's not helping you with that public image or your responsibilities that you have to the world, right? So balancing those professional demands with your personal life. And, with all of that, professional aspirations and your public standing and your social status and all that, the sun is in your fourth house right now because the sun is in Leo because we're in Leo season. So the focus is on home. The focus is on your internal world. It's on your emotional space, your emotional capacity. It's on your home and family. And it's suggesting a need to balance and really focus on the home and family, focus on your internal space. It's focusing on your domestic responsibilities and making sure that you're able to find that balance between your professional life and your home life. Okay. So Uranus being in your sign really shakes up your identity because with Taurus being in our first house, it's like making these innovative changes. It is about you making initiatives to do something, and it's probably throwing everybody off because it may be even throwing yourself off, right? Where it's like, I didn't know I was going to do that. Or you could have just been making decisions that are just completely outside of your norm because, like I said, Taurus likes stability, it likes things to stay the same. And Uranus is in our sign. It's like forcing us to change and go with the flow and be abrupt a little bit, right? So shaking up our identity, pushing us to really be our authentic self. And if you are in a space in your career where you cannot be your authentic self, then there's a time to reevaluate and release that. If you are in a space in your public image where you cannot be your authentic self, then you're going to be forced to be pushed out of that in order to align to what it is that you are supposed to be. Right now, that T square is here and is prompting Taurus energy to really like manage our public and private lives. And then with Venus being in the fifth house and Mars being in the second house, right? Because Mars and Jupiter are both in Gemini in the second house, is highlighting creative endeavors and financial growth. Using your sense of creativity in order to create those streams of income. Renata, you hear that? Did you hear that? Okay. Because we've been working on some stuff. So, girl, okay. So, there's that. So, that is for Taurus energy. Make sure you are using your sense of creativity. And there also might be something with like children when it comes to that also, because the fifth house also represents your children. And, Venus is in your fifth house. So, it could be that you're really like spending money or finding value with being with your kids if you have children or something like that, or even in romantic partnerships. So there might be some developments when it comes to romance or some communications that need to be had when it comes to like romantic partnerships, making sure that all of that is in alignment. So there's that. All right. So moving on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. But before we do so, any questions, comments, concerns, complaints? I don't want to hear 'em. Let's see. We good? Thank you, Robbie. All right. It's okay. Look, Queens, if you missed it, I'll be saving it on my YouTube, so you can always go back and watch it, okay? And it will be timestamped, so don't even worry about it. All right. We're about to move on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right. So, Gemini, this is happening in your ninth house. So, this full moon happening in your ninth house. This represents higher education, travel, beliefs, your philosophies, your ideas, long distance journeys, things like that, pilgrimage, mentors, your life path. So, it's about exploring new horizons and letting go of outdated beliefs that hold you back. And exploring new horizons, both intellectually as well as physically. So you could have just recently come off a trip, or you could be getting ready to go on a trip. I love when you do the timestamps for us. It makes it easy. I get it. Y'all thank Renata for that. So for Gemini. So, whether you are exploring these new horizons, like you could have easily just come off of doing a trip, a vacation somewhere, or maybe you are finishing school, or you finish one thing, or you got some type of revelation with school and you are embarking on a new cycle with school or higher education, or maybe even a mentorship. But either way, this is a period for you, Gemini, to expand your knowledge and your worldview, right? If you need to book a flight, start planning to do so now, right? So, like I say, with full moons, it's about endings. It's about, something coming to a culmination. So maybe you are in a reflective space where you are reflecting on a recent trip and the things that you've learned and the beliefs that you have and your philosophies and the engagement that you have with others, that kind of thing. So, really embrace learning opportunities, whether they are through traditional learning or whether it is through learning through experience, learning through travel, traveling and engaging in activities that really broaden your sense of perspective when it comes to certain things. And it's going to really like help you understand where you are trying to go, what you are trying to create from those intentions that you set back in December of 2020. You're able to see how far you've come, what beliefs you need to let go, what things you need to let go, what places that you don't need to visit anymore, or where you need to move. That could also be something. So the full moon, like I said, ninth house, travel, higher learning, philosophies, expanding your horizons, checking in, doing a check and balance when it comes to your beliefs. The sun is also in your third house in Leo, right? So with the sun being in your third house, your focus is on your communication. It could be also on building a small business. It could be also on, getting into like a trade or a skill, picking up a certification or something like that, connecting with siblings, building your immediate family, things like that. And then urging you to balance your everyday tasks with your broader ambitions, the life path that you have, your everyday tasks, changing your environment. It could also mean that you're like moving and you could be going abroad somewhere, or some like you're releasing a neighborhood, or you're focusing on your neighborhood so you can go somewhere. I don't know. Something like that is what I'm getting. But either way, you need to balance your everyday tasks with your ambitions. And then you have Uranus in your 12th house. And so that's bringing subconscious shifts. So, the 12th house is our subconscious mind. And so, with that being said, like it's urging you to move and push forward towards spiritual growth. It's about being innovative and making those changes and disrupting your subconscious patterns, and checking in with that self-sabotaging behavior that we could possibly have, right? Because we all got it in one way or another. And also, we have that T square I was speaking about, and that's highlighting the need for balance between your personal beliefs and your interactions with your community, right? And your personal beliefs when it comes to like travel and your life path with, taking the steps to get there, planning it out. You also could be like letting go of a vehicle during this time, or really reevaluating where you are with your car or something like that, travel and whatnot. So, anywho, Venus is in your fourth house also. Venus is in Virgo, and Mars and Jupiter are in Gemini, and that is, really a lot to do with, it's in your sign. So that's in your first house. So you could be like losing weight right now, really focusing on your body, either buffing up with Mars being in your first house, or trimming or slimming down or something like that, really working out, trying to, do something. Or you could be really ambitious when it comes to your initiative. So with Mars and Jupiter both being in your first house, it's about being confident. It's about being optimistic when it comes to like how you initiate things, and using that Venus in your fourth house energy to initiate a new home. So like I said, some of y'all might be moving or something like that. I don't know, moving or making major changes when it comes to like your home and family, and possibly what family looks like, but also initiating that sense of inner security in your emotional space, making sure that your self-expression and your domestic harmony is in alignment. Okay. So making sure you release anything that is hindering you from that growth and expansion that you are seeking, right? So you are needing to like have a different belief. You're needing to live abroad, whatever that looks like, with this energy being in your ninth house. That's the goal that you set 4 years ago. What's holding you back? Let it go. All right. So that is Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We are moving on to Cancer. Before we move on, let's see. That's you, Stephanie. Girl, it's really real out here. All right. Moving on to Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Yes. All right. Let it go. Let it go. Yep, you're right. All right. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's get it popping. All right. So this Aquarius full moon is happening in your 8th house. And so this has a lot to do with your shared resources. That's money that you get from other people, right? That's what shared resources is basically. So that could be government money. That could be money that you get from a job. It could be money that you get because you are married and y'all have shared finances. Also, 8th house is about intimacy. It's about union. It's also about transformation, deep connections. So this could be a time for you to release one stream of income because you are embarking on, getting a new one. So some of y'all may be ending jobs so you can start a new job. Some of y'all might be, really reevaluating where your money goes. You could have gotten notice that maybe you did get a loan, or you didn't get a loan, or you're paying a loan off, something like that. So when it comes to like the financial aspect of things, that could be happening. Now, as far as like the transformation piece to this, you could be really recognizing on a psychological level what you need to let go. So you might be seeing that it's really a time for you to get into like psychotherapy and see a therapist, or really dive deep into shadow work and, maybe even divination practices or something like that. So that's going to help you like carry on to reach your goals that you have set back from December 2020. Now, diving into your financial matters and your shared resources, your intimate relationships. Now, intimate relationships don't always have to be like partnered like that. It could be partnered, but also like we are intimate when it comes to like our best friends. Like we share intimacy with them. We share like our deepest, darkest secrets. Anybody that sits in your 8th house, right? So that's also intimacy. It doesn't necessarily have to be like someone you are always romantically involved with. So just intimate relationships are also being highlighted during this time, and transforming those deep emotional spaces that you have with others, right? And the emotional work is really being highlighted during this time. So you could be seeing that like, hey, I need to release this aspect of myself because it's holding me back from being in an intimate relationship. And you doing whatever it is that you need to do, whatever it is that you need to let go of that's within your psyche, right? Psychological things. And a lot of the times psychological things come from generational things. Okay. And because 8th house is also generational, right? It's our lineage in aspect, really. It's like 4th house, 8th house, 12th house is all family oriented things. So it's something that you could be needing to release, or something that you could really need to work on healing during this time. So really address any financial entanglements that you have, any emotional baggage that you may be having. You need to be like letting it go, working towards healing it, doing your shadow work, journaling, psychotherapy, divination work, whatever works for you, do it. Okay. because something is holding you back emotionally and maybe even psychologically, and it's keeping you from obtaining that goal that you set. Okay. So if you are looking for like um, intimate relationship of any kind, like seek depth, right? Go deep, seek authenticity in relationships, making sure that all of that is in alignment, and nothing can hold you back when it comes to anything that you desire, as long as you are being yourself. So make sure that whatever you seek is also authentic, it's also original. So with this energy being in your eighth house, Cancer, it's shedding light on um, the resources, shared resources, deep psychological issues, right? But also just more so about your emotional world and what that looks like for you. The sun is in your second house. So the focus is on income, money that you make for yourself. It's on your values and making sure all of those things are in alignment with your values. What you're seeking aligns to your values, right? So the second house really stresses like personal finances. So it's income that you make for yourself. So you could be embarking on a new stream of income, or really just getting in alignment with your values, really like doing checks and balances when it comes to who it is that you are and what it is that you value. Also, the second house is like your taste, why you like what you like, you know? So making sure that you are doing things because you like to do it. And that's calling for balance between, what you own and what you share. Because if you think about second house is everything that you possess, right? It's all of your possessions. So it's what you own and what you share and what you get from other people, and finding balance between that. So it could be like a call to action when it comes to like your savings and how you manage your finances. It could also indicate like your responsibility that you got to have in maintaining. Maybe you lost a sense of responsibility in your money and how you manage your money. Okay. Uranus is in your 11th house, and that's disrupting your social circle. So there could be some unexpected changes when it comes to like your friendships, your social circles, and your long-term goals, pushing for you to be more innovative and to kind of like think outside the box. The T square is challenging you to really harmonize your intimate relationships with your financial matters, or even your shared resources with your financial matters, or just like what I said, what you possess, like what you already own versus what you get from others. Um, and then Venus is in your third house. And with Venus being in your third house and Mars and Jupiter being in your 12th house, that's urging you to communicate, effectively, explore what your growth looks like, work on healing, right? Because Mars and Jupiter in your 12th house is eliminating the self-sabotaging behaviors. It's giving you more optimism. It's expanding on your subconscious patterns, but it also could be indicating like more seclusion, because Jupiter in your 12th house, I went through that before when Jupiter was in Aries before it moved into Taurus, and then it was in my 12th house, and I was sleepy, and I was really like wanting to be by myself. This was like 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Yeah, something like that. And so I really just wanted to be by myself. So it really will bring you in a sense of like introspection, wanting to be on your own, really wanting to dive deep into who it is that you are and making those changes. Also, you might be looking to move to a foreign permanent settlement. So basically what that means is like, you could be looking to like move to a place that is foreign to you. It doesn't necessarily mean across seas, just a new location where you've never lived before, not completely. And this could be something that's more permanent for you. Now, permanent doesn't mean forever, it just means permanent for right now, right? So that's also something to consider. Now, I think I touched on everything for Cancer. Yeah. So just basically more so explore your sense of growth and the healing that's needed. Cancer moon in the eighth house. Yep. There you go. So yeah, just explore the healing, what's necessary. Where are you holding yourself back, your self-sabotaging behaviors, your subconscious patterns, and how you are allowing those things to affect your day-to-day life. Okay. So before we move on to Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, do we have any questions, comments, statements? Okay, nothing here, nothing here. Thank y'all again for joining me this evening. We almost halfway there. Y'all hold on. We're going to get there. All right, let's move on. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Here we go. All right. So Leo, this is happening in your seventh house. So Leo rising, you have Aquarius in your seventh house. So that's partnerships and marriage. That is any interpersonal relationships, right? So your one-on-one relationships that also include like your best friend. So seventh house also can be contracts and legal situations, things like that. So it's really telling you to like focus on your significant relationships. It could be also about like needing to release relationships that are holding you back. And it doesn't have to be marriage and partnerships like that. It could be, but it could just be like you letting go of this one personal dynamic or realizing that these types of one-on-one connections I don't really care to do anymore. So you're letting it go, whatever that looks like. Because this full moon is really shedding a light on like partnerships and how you relate to others. So you could necessarily be keeping your connections, but releasing how you interact with them, if that makes sense. All right. So kind of like striving for balance and harmony when it comes to your relationships and communicating openly and addressing any issues. Now's the time to do that. I would write it down first before you just start blurting stuff out, because Mars is in Gemini. You can kind of get loose at the lips and regret what it say. So just write it down. If it's like something heated, write it down, kind of get your thoughts and things into play before you actually express them. Okay. So with this full moon in your seventh house of partnerships, it's really like illuminating your relationships. Like it's a strong focus on that energy, but also the sun is in your first house. So it's a focus on you. Like the sun is shining bright on you, because, Leo rising. So it's like, how are you showing up? Oh, thank you, Nada. It's like, how are you showing up in these partnerships? So the focus isn't just other people. It's not just your relationships. The focus is you. How are you showing up, right? What are your commitments to other people? Are you upholding your commitments? Are you standing true to those commitments? How are you really standing true to those commitments and regarding to yourself without self-sabotaging, without self-sacrificing, right? And then also keep in mind that Uranus is in your 10th house of your career. And so it can kind of bring a bit of unpredictability, not only in your career, but also your public image. So the 10th house is the highest part of the chart, and it's what everybody sees. So people might be saying that you're unpredictable or that you're a little bit chaotic right now. That's just how they're seeing you, because Uranus is in your 10th house. And it's just prompting you to be yourself. It's prompting you to like reinvent yourself. Yes, reinvent yourself to be who it is that you truly are. Because, if we think about it, from the time that we are brought into this world, not only do our parents and our family tell us who we should be, but the world also tells us who we should be. And it takes years of us kind of like uncovering and taking all that bull off to actually be who we always have been when we came here. So with Uranus being in your 10th house, is providing that liberation for you to actually be who it is that you want to be, not only on an individual level, but also just in general in your professional career, and achieving your long-term goals in your public eye, all of those things, right, Leo? So that reinvention is really just um, what is the word I'm looking for? It's really like a return to self, right? So keep that in mind. Now, also there's a T square that's happening, and so it's causing us like to find that balance, right? What's the equilibrium that we need between ourselves and our partnership dynamics? And that's any partnership, right? It doesn't have to be intimate. It's any partnership, any contract, any agreement, whether it's verbal or written, any agreement that you've made, right? And then with Venus being in your second house, in Virgo, and Mars and Jupiter being in your 11th house in Gemini, it's encouraging you, to have more financial prudence, I guess you can say, and really focus on social networking, but be yourself socially. And Virgo being Venus and Virgo being in your second house is telling you, like, pay attention to the details, get your affairs in order. When it comes to your income, how you're going to do it, create a strategic plan, make sure you're paying attention to the details. Venus and Virgo. Be picky about what you spend, right? Be picky about what you value, because your values are intended to be picky for a reason, because it makes you like the things that you like. It's your taste, it's all of those things. So with Venus being there and it's making that energy to Mars and Jupiter that's in your 11th house, also is telling you to lean on your friendships, lean on your networking circles to kind of help guide you in that, even if it means that you're having to kind of like shift what that looks like. Okay. Let's see. So, any questions on Leo energy? Leo, sun, moon, and rising. All right, Chanel. All right, all right, all right. Moving on to Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Here we are, 6th house. All right, Virgo. My Virgo. All right. So this is in your 6th house. This is all about your health, your daily routines, your work environment, your service, acts of service that you provide to other people. It could be your employees. It also could be your pets, if you have any pets. And like I said, full moons are about releasing. So pay attention to your health and your daily routines. You could be letting go of one aspect of things when it comes to, your health, your daily routines, in order to like embrace something that's much more healthier, right? So this period can like highlight the importance of having a balanced lifestyle with your work environment, making sure that it's in alignment with who it is that you are, making sure it's in alignment with what your overall goals are, the goals that you set out to achieve back in December 2020. Implement healthier habits, implement a routine, implement structure, implement yourself, right? That Virgo energy, right? So Virgo, in that 6th house, put yourself in the 6th house, put order, put structure, put the detail, put, the routine and whatnot in that energy, in your day-to-day habits, in your focus, right? So and make sure that when you are putting it into your focus, that you know what you're focusing on, right? So focusing on your service and improving your daily habits, improving your daily life, whatever that looks like. So with this full moon being in your 6th house of health, you could be seeing that you have fought long and hard from 2020 to right now to be at the health space that you're at, right? And now you are like, okay, I've come this far. I need to tweak this. I need to change that. I need to implement this. And it also could indicate work, right? So in 2020, you probably set out to embark on a new line of work. And now you are here. I'm thinking about Jason and Jordan right now. So, yeah, so like you could have like embarked on this in 2020, and when it comes to like your work routines, and now you have achieved to some degree that goal you set out in December of 2020, and now you're recognizing, okay, what needs to go, what needs to stay, what needs to change in aspects, certain things. And whether it's in beliefs, whether it's in like actual tangible things that you're doing, making sure that you're doing those checks and balances and letting go anything that is hindering you from actually obtaining the full picture that you set out to achieve, that full vision. Okay. So the sun is in your 12th house, the moon is in your 6th house. So also it is okay to rest. All right. Also, what this could indicate, because I remember Jordan, this is like sickness. 6th and 12th house is sickness, right? We talked briefly about that. So this could indicate that you just need to rest. Maybe even go on a spiritual retreat, maybe get back to certain spiritual practices that you were once doing, because it's urging you to find balance between your daily duties as well as your inner peace and your healing journey, your spiritual practices, making sure you are aligning all of that. Okay. Now Uranus is in your 9th house, and it's bringing changes to your belief systems and your long distance ventures. So also it could be higher education, what it is that your knowledge, things like that. So that T square is really challenging you to harmonize work and spiritual life with the Venus energy that's in your 1st house, right? It's about valuing yourself, making sure that everything. Okay, so my live is ending. All right. On TikTok, everybody on TikTok, y'all come over to YouTube. All right, the link is in my bio because this is ending in 5 minutes. So, anywho, so for Virgo, I was talking about your 9th house. So Uranus in your 9th house, bringing the changes, long distance journeys. So, something that you're learning. The T square is telling you like, hey, harmonize your work, harmonize your spiritual life with that Venus energy that's in your sign, valuing yourself, valuing your initiatives, what your goals are, really taking care of yourself. And whether that means that you're buying clothes, whether that means you're, taking care of your hair, you are, being that Venus is in Virgo, maybe you need to splurge on buying like things that are for like herbs and health things, medicines, things like that you need. And then Mars and Jupiter in your 10th house. So there's a lot of action going on when it comes to like your career. There's a lot of expansion and opportunities that could be coming to you about your career, whether it's to like collaborate and connect with other people or just actually, opportunities to pursue when it comes to like your overall goals. But ultimately, your overall vision for yourself of who you want to be publicly is expanding, right? Personal development, career advancement. Those are the key themes that are happening right now for you with that Jupiter and that Mars energy being in Gemini in your 10th house. And so it's telling you, in order for you to achieve that, you got to make sure that what you do on a day to day is in alignment. And if you are not doing what is required of you, then it's going to be real hard for you to achieve that 10th house. Remember, the 10th house is the highest part of your chart. Right now, the focus is on your 12th house, which is your health and what you do behind the scenes, right? Your spiritual journey and your spiritual practices and your day-to-day routines. You need to harmonize that, your work with your spiritual life, okay? Let go anything that is hindering you from that. Let go of any ill habits that are within your health dynamic, okay? Or even in work. Even if that means you need to stop working with certain things or stop working at a certain place, yeah, cool. But you also could be recognizing the culmination of how far you've come in your work life or your career life. All right. So that was for Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. All right. So one more time for everybody in TikTok land, go meet me on YouTube. It'll still be going on YouTube. Or you can wait until it's uploaded, but I'm still gonna be live on YouTube. This is about to end in a minute. I put it for 2 hours and it just didn't do what it was supposed to do. So I don't know. TikTok be tripping. So that was for Virgo. We're about to move on to Libra, sun, moon, and rising. How y'all feeling out there? Y'all all right? Y'all good? Thank you, Key. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move on to Libra, sun, moon, and rising. All right, so Libra, this is Libra rising best now. Oh, Libra rising beat down. Got you. Okay. Here we go. Libra, fifth house. So this is in your fifth house. So this is the house of creativity, romance, children, self-expression. This has a lot to do with like embracing your creative side, right? Maybe you are looking to launch something. Maybe you are looking to kind of like come to this culminating energy when it comes to like your children, because the fifth house is children also. Maybe there's like endings that are happening in your romantic life. You're letting go of something so that way you can embark or embrace on something else. And you're needing to indulge in activities that bring you joy and pleasure. So maybe you need to let something go in order for you to be more joyous and more happy, right? Romance and self-expression, these are the focus at this time. Now, also, a little bit of advice for Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Explore your passions and explore your hobbies if you don't know what they are, right? Make sure that you are really allowing yourself to get into things that are new. All right. Give yourself opportunities to experience something new. Or if you know what you used to like and you don't do it anymore, get back into that. It's retrograde season. So there's a lot going on in retrograde, energy. So go back to things, go back and review some things. Okay. Allow yourself to have fun and express your true self. And tapping into that will definitely help you with expressing who it is that you are, the more fun that you're having, right? The more you're able to tap into your inner child, right? Because it's the fifth house, and express yourself from that sense of space, that sense of joy. Do you see more physical moves for us with Pluto retro in the fourth too? Oh yeah, let me see. Pluto is retrograde. It's about to dip back into Yeah, it's about to dip back into Capricorn, but it only will be there at 29 degrees. So it's just going to wrap up like the final endings that need to happen. So with for Libra rising, um, Pluto being retrograde in your fourth house, uh, well, it should be in your fifth house right now, right? Because Pluto's in Aquarius. It hasn't moved back into the 29th degree, I don't think. But once it goes back in there, it's definitely going to like wrap it up for like the final ending of something. So like whatever loose ends that you need with Pluto being there in your fourth house, whether it's like with feminine energies, your family life, something like that, whether it's physical movement, once it dip back into that 29th degree in Capricorn, then you'll be wrapping those final things, tying up those loose ends to move forward once it stations to go back direct. All right. So I hope that answered your question. Um, yeah, so I would definitely say right now with Aquarius being in your fifth house, it's really a time for you to like go seek some joy, go seek some fun. All right. Go be creative. Go get you a new romantic partnership or let go of a fling or romantic partnership that just ain't doing it for you no more because it's blocking you. Also, and if it's not actual romantic relationship, then it's a time for you to really embrace the romance of life. Okay. So just like the romance of life, just like enjoying what life is, being in the present, being more appreciative, right? That full moon is going to bring joy and self expression to the forefront for us. Okay. You're very welcome, Venus. So the sun in your 11th house is really highlighting your involvement when it comes to like your groups, your overall goals, like the people that you affiliate with, your friendships, networking circles, material gains, things that you acquire. And it's urging you to balance that, right? Find the balance between your personal pleasure and your social commitments, your personal pleasure versus, what brings goodness to the world, what brings goodness to, your friendship. So also this could be an indication that you need to just go hang out with your friends. Go kick it with your homies, because maybe you've been too focused on business, or you've been too focused on healing, and sometimes something that is we get so stuck on healing something that we forget that part of healing also means that a way that you can heal is to be with your friends, be in community, go and do some things that are fun, tap into your inner child, go paint or something like that, whatever it was that you used to do, go do that, because that also is a very healing energy. And I say that because Uranus is in your 8th house, and that's triggering not only the financial transformation, but also emotional and psychological transformations that are happening, right? Being liberated from certain things that are holding you back, and also maybe like major changes happening with like shared resources and joint finances. So there might be like some unexpected things happening when it comes to like government money, loans, the money that you make at work, things like that. Then also that T square is there, and that's really challenging the Libra energy to like integrate their personal desires with their collective responsibility, like what you want versus what you have to do, right? And it's might be challenging where you really just kind of like want to break free and just do what you want to do, but you have other responsibilities, so it's keeping you from being able to really express or even experience that joy that you want. Venus is in your 12th house. So this is what I was talking about, that healing thing, right? Enjoy the healing process as much as you possibly can. And you can do so by tapping back into those things that once brought you joy, because it's even healing in that. Mars and Jupiter are in your 9th house. So take a trip, higher education, get back into school, do checks and balances when it comes to your beliefs, because this energy is really prompting spiritual growth and expansive thinking, right? Go and have new experiences. Go out there and experience something new, so that way you can really kick up that healing that's necessary for you. Okay, Libra? Saw someone say, watch our kids during the full moon because of accidents. I don't like to do the fear mongering, Venus, and plus that kind of energy really depends on like your individual chart, right? So like you will have to really like see the individual personal chart when it comes to that. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily, you can always, be cautious of things like that when it comes to your kids, or just even in general, but it really just depends on your own individual chart. You haven't had a girls' night acting forever. Girl, go on out. Go on out. Go on out. Enjoy yourself. All right, all right, all right. All right. Do we have any questions before we move on to Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising? You're so welcome. You are so welcome. All right, moving on to Scorpio. Here we go. All right, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is happening in your fourth house. So, fourth house, this is home, family. This is your roots. This is your traditions. This is your living situation. So, your actual home. This is about your inner sense of security, your emotional space. This is about, self-care. How do you take care of yourself? What makes you feel good? Those things. And so, this could be a time for you to like reflect on your home life, reflecting on your family relationships, letting anything go that's really hindering you from having a harmonious home and family life, right? Right. So it could also be roots and traditions, familial things. It could be generational things that need to be released and let go. All right. It's a time for grounding and connecting within your roots. So I would advise, like, maybe you could even do some family bonding or addressing any domestic issues that you may have, like within your family. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly in your home. It could be with your mom. It could be with your overall, like your large family, right? So it could be that. It doesn't have to be your immediate family. Um, I would also advise like get into like ancestry during this time, try and uncover certain things that could highlight, certain truths or certain secrets that you weren't aware of. And it could help you with what you're trying to achieve in the future. It can give you some clarity about some things that you've experienced. Also, release anything that is sabotaging your self-care. Let it go, whether it's habits, whether it's certain responsibilities that you have within the home that is just weighing you down. Learn to delegate, right? Give some things away. The full moon being in your fourth house is releasing something. It brings attention to domestic matters by way of the sun being in your 10th house, right? So your career, your responsibilities to the world, all of that is being highlighted with the sun being in Leo in your 10th house. And it's really shining that light because it needs you to find balance between your public life and your home life, right? What goes on behind closed doors versus what goes on publicly, your career ambitions, and urging you to bring that balance between your professional life and your home life. Then you have Uranus that's there and it's in your 7th house. And so that's bringing changes to your partnerships. It is pushing for new like dynamics in your relationship. Now, I don't mean that you're gonna be leaving your partner or anything like that. Not necessarily. Some people may, but it just depends on your individual chart, right? But it could just bring major changes in your relationship where it's like how you are interacting with one another or certain things that could really be holding you back from having the harmonious, home life that you want. And it's like, hey, we need to not do this, or we need to make this change, or these agreements or these commitments that we made, we need to let that go. This could really be a time for you to make those changes in your partnerships. And it doesn't necessarily mean, your marriage or relationship. It could be like with your best friend. It could be with, any interpersonal connection that you have, pushing for a new dynamic within those relationships. Oh, thank you. Throw it out. Look, I messed it up. Yeah, so really like telling you to like find those balances, right? Because that T square is really challenging the balance between your family, your career, and then with Venus being in your 11th house, is in Virgo, and Mars and Jupiter in your 8th house in Gemini, it is telling you, okay, social engagement, deep transformation. Talk to your friends. Go to someone that's trusted to help you understand or help you find what it is that you need to achieve your goals when it comes to your home and family life, when it comes to your inner sense of security. You could be even, achieving some type of goal that you want, but you have to do so first through transformation, through healing, through letting go of certain agreements that you made, right? Because those agreements are no longer in alignment with who it is that you are or what you want to do. So you have to work on releasing so much when it comes to that, because it's not in alignment. And that's what's holding you back. Also, this is a time for checks and balances when it comes to whatever intentions you set December of 2020. How far have you come with obtaining that lifestyle and that home and family dynamic that you have, set out to actually accomplish? How far have you come? What needs to be corrected? Right now, you might feel challenged. You might feel like you're being tested, and it's because you are, because it's like, hey, this is what you said you want. Are you sure? Are you positive? Are you in alignment? Are you on that path still? Are you losing sight of what the bigger goal is? Are you losing sight of what you set out to do, or, whatever? So it's time for you to really go into the checks and balances and, really see what is there and push towards those relationship dynamics that bring you an inner sense of peace and joy. Okay. So that is Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. All right. Is that Aurora? Yes. I like that name. All right. Moving on to Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Thank you, KB. On point with the placements. All right. Do we have any questions before we move on to Sagittarius? So we just have 4 more: Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. 4 more. 4 more. Oh, well, this didn't end. Thank God. Okay. I thought it was, but they lied. All right. No questions, no comments. All right. Let's move on. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. So Aquarius full moon happening in your 3rd house. So this is the house of communication. It's the house of like learning like a new skill or a new trade, getting like a certification. This is the house of your siblings and your cousins or those friends that feel like siblings. This is about your community, your neighborhood, neighbors. It's also small business things, right? So even like transportation, that's also 3rd house energy. So this is really impacting your learning and your communication, as well as those other things that I mentioned. It's really highlighting the focus on what needs to be released and doing some checks and balances towards this energy in your 3rd house. Like you wanted to develop a business, maybe you set out to do so back in 2020. And now it's like, okay, well, you set out to do it. Are you where you want to be? Are you still on that path to obtain a thing? Even if it's about a car, or even if it's about your relationship with your siblings, or getting a certification, or learning something new. Even social media is 3rd house. It's about communication, all types of communication. So it's like checking in. What are you doing? Are you there? Where do you need to be? How far do you need to go? What needs to change? What do you need to release? So it's really enhancing your ability to connect and share your ideas with other people, but also just kind of do a check and balances on your ideas. Use those ideas that have recently come up, with Mercury being retrograde, just kind of like implementing those things and improve your communication skills. This could be a time for that. Improve your education, right? Learning something, picking up books, things like that. Fostering connections, whether it's with your siblings or with your neighbors, all those things. So that's just kind of like some advice that's being asked of you right now with this Aquarius moon being in your 3rd house. And then the conjunction that happened back 4 years ago also was in your 3rd house. So whatever intentions you set, it's really like showing you, highlighting where you are and where you may have gotten off course, or what you need to make change so you can get to that. Okay, so communication, local affairs, those things are all being emphasized, and what you can learn from your experiences, what you can learn from, your community, from your environment. The sun is in your 9th house. And so this is highlighting like broader perspectives. This is highlighting your beliefs. This is highlighting travel, higher education, urging a balance between what you know and what you think you know, right? 3rd house, 9th house, making sure that, do you really believe what you believe? And balancing between the local commitments that you have and your global aspirations, right? Your immediate aspirations and what you want to obtain over a lifetime, right? Your overall goals, your lifelong goals that you have. Also, you have Uranus in your 6th house. Yeah, Uranus is in your 6th house, and it's bringing changes in your health, in your work routines, It's telling you to be innovative when it comes to your health. It's telling you to make those changes when it comes to where you work and who you work with. Uranus in Taurus, it's about something that's going to be stable. It's about something that's going to make you money, that's going to last a long time, where you don't have to continue to make the changes, right? But with Uranus being there, it's telling you to be innovative, think outside the box, right? So changes in your health, maybe you need to not go to traditional doctors. If you're having health issues, maybe you need to go do some Chinese medicine, and maybe you need to go do holistic medicine, something like that. Just think outside the box, something that's not traditional. Uranus is there telling you to be innovative, because that's what's going to help you. Same goes for your work. Same goes for your routine. Be innovative. Do something that's not going to be the norm for you. Okay. There's also a T square that's happening, right? And that's challenging you to integrate local and global interests, right? So with that Venus energy in your 10th house, you could have gotten a raise, you could have gotten a new job, you could be looking to like expand your finances or your value in your work dynamic or in your public image or your responsibilities to the world. And Mars and Jupiter in your 7th house, because it's in Gemini. Yeah, Sagittarius, Gemini. Yeah, so it's in your 7th house. It's really like initiating new relationships, new commitments, expanding on the opportunities to connect and have other commitments and other partnerships and things like that. So you could be expanding on your partnership. You could be, some of y'all with Jupiter being in the 7th house could be getting married. Just saying, it could be getting married, could be getting engaged, things like that, or just be, in partnership, whether it's business partnership, could be getting best friends, making new friends, making new connections, and you're initiating these things, or people are initiating this with you. And that T square that's happening right now is really challenging you to integrate all of this thing, your values with your 10th house, with your commitments that you have with other people, and your career growth and your relationship dynamic. Like, who is it that that's within your network? Who is it that that can help you expand on your career? What commitments are you making to, reach those career goals that you have? Okay. So that's what I got for you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hey, hey. How are y'all? All right. We're about to go on to Capricorn. Do we have any questions for Sagittarius? Okay. Nada. Let's keep it moving then. You are so welcome. All right. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this Aquarius full moon is happening in your 2nd house. Okay. So the 2nd house has a lot to do with your personal finances, your personal values, your self-worth, everything that you possess. It's all about your possessions, things that you own, right? It's the income streams that you make for yourself. So it has nothing to do with anybody else. It's all about you. Okay. And so with this moon is impacting your focus on your financial situation and your personal values, right? So you could be seeing like an ending of how you made money. You could be seeing or coming to like a fullness or a culmination of how you created income streams for yourself. The full moon is really bringing attention to your material security as well as your self-esteem. Something could be going on in your environment that's like, ooh, I didn't know that I had this far to go in my financial situation, or I didn't know I had this far to go in how I feel about myself, right? My self-worth. You could be seeing that your financial situation could be reflecting your self-worth could be reflecting your financial situation, because 2nd house is self-worth and net worth. They're connected, right? So this could be indicating a time for you to release certain things that you thought that you valued, or releasing anything that hinders or goes against what your personal values are, right? Even if that means a job, even if that means a person, place, a thing, whatever it is, if it's hindering you, it's time to let it go. So it's about reassessing your financial goals. What are they? Reassessing your values. What are they? reassessing your relationships, everything that you possess. What are they? Some of y'all might be just doing something as simple as having a garage sale, letting some stuff go. Some of y'all have to do some actual deep introspective work, right, during this time about your self-worth and your values. It just depends on how this is aspecting your personal planets as well. So ensuring that your actions align with your sense of self-worth, right? So with the full moon being in your second house, right, finances, values, that brings attention to your material possessions also. And the sun being in your eighth house, so it's opposite this energy. So the sun in your eighth house, the moon in your second house. So eighth house is shared resources. It's money that you get from other people. It's government money. It's funding like that. It's also like things that you get from other people. So it could be alimony, it could be anything like that. And what those deep connections are, because it's also eighth house is deep connections. And so it's urging a balance between your personal and your shared assets, what you make for yourself and what you get from others, right? So how can you find balance between the money you make from yourself and your job, or the money you get in alimony, or however? Also, Uranus is in your fifth house, right? So this brings a creative, uh, uh, a creative focus. Also, disruptions when it comes to romantic situations, as well as possibly children. So there could be some major changes and some transformation, some upheaval that's happening when it comes to your finances and your kids and your job, things like that, or how you make your money, however that is. It could be a business or whatever. Maybe you get money from, a partner, however. So that T square is challenging you to harmonize those personal values with your shared resources, making sure that things are in alignment. And like I was talking about previously, it was like, in the very beginning of this, I was talking about how collectively we go through these checks and balances where, on a societal level, we start getting a recalibration of what is to be here, right? Like, our structures, our values, rules and regulations, government policy, leadership, all of these things are coming into focus, and they come under review every 4 years. And so, me saying that, it's like, okay, now you are at this place where it's like, okay, 4 years ago, I set out to have this thing. Is this in alignment with what I really want? Is this in alignment with not only my personal values, but the collective values of where the world is going? Am I in direction with the ebb and flow of the universe? Am I in connection with that? Am I in alignment with that? So that T square that's here is really challenging to harmonize those personal values with your shared resources. Venus is in your ninth house, and Mars and Jupiter in your sixth house. So with Mars and Jupiter being in your sixth house, it might bring into focus that you have like some health issues or some work situations, or maybe you thought that you didn't have to work and now you have to go back to work, or maybe you don't have to work or something like that, and you're just like, okay, cool, I don't have to work, I want to focus on education, with Venus being in your ninth house. Something like that could be happening. But also with Mars and Jupiter being in your sixth house, this is giving me inflammation, right? So sixth house is health and routines. Mars is the muscles. Mars is inflammation. It is things that can become inflamed, right? So you think about Mars and you see the little angry man from what is that little cartoon? Is it In and Out? I can't remember. But the cartoon little red angry man, right? Mars is that, like, it becomes inflamed when things are not in alignment with what it wants to be or how it wants to be. And so with Mars and Jupiter both, and they are in a conjunction today, by the way, I forgot to mention that to y'all. Mars and Jupiter are in conjunction in Gemini, and it's in your sixth house. So you might be coming to a head when it comes to like your health. You might need to take certain things into account when it comes to like how you have been operating. Like, yeah, I've come far in my health. You could have gotten like a diagnosis or, something 4 years ago, or you could have been starting on like a health journey where you wanted to like get healthier. You wanted to lose weight. You wanted to gain weight, never know. You wanted to do certain things when it comes to your physical health, and now you are recognizing, okay, this has been helpful, this has been harmful. This is how far I have got to go. This is how far I have come in this thing, right? And the sixth house also represents like working your routine. So it's promoting, it's really promoting this energy of alignment, expansive thinking, daily productivity. It has a lot to do with making sure that your day-to-day tasks is in alignment, so that way you're not overdoing it, right? Mars in the sixth house is giving me you doing the most. You have a lot going on in your day-to-day life, and you need to kind of like scale back and rest a little bit, making sure that you are only doing what you need to do, right? And not overexerting yourself and putting yourself into things that's going to make you sick ultimately, or that's not in alignment with what you want to do in your work routine or in your daily life. Okay. So it's about releasing those things. It's about letting those things go so that way you can embark on what is truly meant for you based on your values, right? Because this moon is in your second house. So it's all about what values really aren't your values, what you need to let go and release. Okay. Hey, Seven, how you doing over there in TikTok land? All right. Inside out. Yeah, you knew what I was talking about, Chanel. Oh, I forgot about your Capricorn moon. Yes, we've been getting rid of some electronics and going back to a few old ways of living. Yep. Yep, you and your Capricorn moon. I forgot all about that. All right. Moving on to Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. We almost there, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging in there. We are almost there. All right. All right, Aquarius. So this is your full moon. That's what I like to say. It's yours. It belongs to you. It is in your first house. So it's all about your self-identity. This is about your personal goals. This is about your physical body. This is about your initiatives, right? So this is a significant period for self-reflection. I say that because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology, and modern astrology is ruled by Uranus, right? So Saturn is retrograde. It's a lot to do with self-reflection. It's a lot to do with doing that checks and balances in your personal growth, right? And then with the full moon being there, the full moon represents the time for releasing. So once you do those checks and balances, once you kind of do the self-reflection about how far you've come and about what your initiatives are and your confidence and, you know, being courageous in whatever pursuits that you're trying to go after, once you do that, what needs to be let go of, right? What needs to be embraced, what needs to be tweaked and changed just a little bit, right? So it's highlighting your individuality, right? Because Aquarius is all about being an individual. So it's really highlighting what that is and what that looks like. And it's also kind of like illuminating what's in the shadows, right? So you might be understanding or learning certain things about yourself, right? And it could be some major changes that you're needing to make about who it is that you are. So focusing on your self-improvement, focusing on personal goals and aspirations, how you initiate things, embracing your uniqueness, your quirkiness, you know, making some changes to your appearance, whether it's changing your hair, buying new clothes, or completely changing your wardrobe, or whatever it is, whatever that looks like for you. Embrace your uniqueness, assert your identity, assert your individuality. Okay. Keep in mind, opposite of this energy, opposite of your first house, your seventh house, and that's where Leo is in your chart. So the moon is in your first house, the sun is in your seventh house, and it's highlighting who it is that you are in partnership, urging a balance between self and others, making sure you're not losing sight of who it is that you are when you are in connection with others, right? Also, you could be releasing and letting go certain commitments that you've made, whether it's in commitment with other people, commitment, to jobs or contracts, agreements that you verbally made, or even agreements that you've written down, whatever they are, any agreement that you've made, you could be letting some of that go because it's not in alignment with who it is that you want to be, right? And with Uranus being in your fourth house, this is a disruption, right, in the home and family dynamics, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a chaotic, upsetting, negative, so to speak, disruption. Just means like a major change, something that's being liberated, something that's being released, so to speak, a little shakeup. And it's pushing for new foundations. It's pushing for you to be innovative in your home, to make those changes that are necessary so that way you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve. You are the one that's setting these intentions. You are the one that's going out and initiating whatever these changes are. It's you, because Aquarius is in your first house. This moon is all about you. So the T square that's happening is challenging you to integrate your personal and your partnership needs, right? What is it that you need within partnerships? What is it that you need in agreements and commitments, so on and so forth. Now, also, you have Venus in your eighth house. Venus in your eighth house, and Mars and Jupiter in your fifth house, right? And they're in Gemini. And so this is really promoting deep connections and creative expression. Mars is there and it's like initiating things when it comes to like your children, your romantic partnerships. There could be some challenges that are going on within your romantic partnerships. It could be some challenges or some things that you're trying to initiate when it comes to creativity or with your children or romantic partnerships or just hobbies, anything that brings you joy and fun. You could be having many opportunities coming your way about romantic partnerships. And some of y'all, if you got Jupiter in your fifth house, you might actually be getting pregnant during this time. I'm not wishing it on anybody, but hey, it's possible right now with Jupiter being in your fifth house. I have never been wrong on that. I have predicted many pregnancies. Okay. So with Jupiter being in your fifth house, you could be having more kids. You could be really seeing the opportunities to have children or expanding on what your relationship is with your actual children who are already here. Right. And even like your inner child could be going into like to some like healing aspect, because traditional astrology, Jupiter rules Pisces. So some healing, some innovative, some creative kind of expression that's happening and opportunities coming because of that. So finding those deep connections and being able to be more creative in your expression and really tapping into that authentic expression of who it is that you are. Okay. So there you have it. That is Aquarius. You got set all the way down from doing too much. Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that, Chanel. When I was reading that about Capricorn, I did not think about that at all. But yeah, you're right. Sat down. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns? We are on the last Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Last but not least. Nothing for Aquarius. All right. Let's wrap it on up. Pisces. Here we go. 12th house. Yes, indeed. You have a full moon in your 12th house. So the 12th house is not only subconscious, it's not only the spiritual things, it's not only solitude, but it's also endings. Okay. That's something that we don't necessarily talk a lot about. The 12th house is about endings. It's about wrapping up something, right? And with this energy being in your 12th house, it's about reflecting on your inner world, your spiritual practices, your healing, and the endings that are happening. So there could be some endings that are going on. Being that it's a full moon in the house of endings, it's double endings for you. You could be wrapping up a cycle of something, and now you're embarking on something new. And it could have been a cycle of solitude and you're done with it. It could be a cycle of unemployment and you're done with it. It could be a cycle of anything that you're wrapping up and now you're embarking on something new, but you need to release something. This could definitely be a time for introspection and releasing what no longer serves you, for sure. However, what this also could indicate is that it is a time for you to reflect how far you've come and moving forward, because we set those intentions back in August of 2020, not August, Lord, what am I saying? In December of 2020 with this Aquarius great conjunction that we had with Jupiter and Saturn. So 4 years ago, you set out for something new when it comes to this 12th house energy. And now you're able to do some checks and balances and see how far you've come, because we are experiencing the opening square of that conjunction. So embracing solitude and spiritual practices, recognizing how far you've come in both of those things, letting go of past issues and focusing on healing and focusing on closure. That's more so what this energy is about. And so with this full moon being in your 12th house, and it is spiritual, it is subconscious, it brings attention to your inner growth as well as things that are hidden matters. So things could be coming up to the surface that are secrets that you were not aware of. Also keep in mind that the sun is in your 6th house. So this could definitely be healing. This could be your health. This could be your work. This could be your daily routines. It could be something involving your pets, maybe. And it's really like highlighting those routines and health and urging the balance between your inner peace and your outer productivity, making sure that what you are out here doing is not compromising the inner peace, making sure that any adversity, any vices that are against you. Sixth house is not sabotaging your sense of peace, right? And so even if that means that you have to be a little secluded, even if that means that you have to let certain things go, if you have to be, in this space of endings, cool, because you are not sabotaging, you are not compromising your inner peace. Uranus is in your third house, and that brings us change. That brings change in communication, your community, your neighborhood, with your neighbors, with your siblings. That could also bring changes to like a small business if you have that, your transportation, your daily commute, things like that. So kind of keep that in mind. There might be some changes. It's urging you to make some changes in that. You might even get some unexpected communication, or you might get some unexpected news that come your way. The T square is challenging you to harmonize spiritual and practical life, right? Because at T square is happening with Venus, also with Venus in Virgo in your seventh house. Mars and Jupiter are both in your fourth house in Gemini. And so that's also promoting relationship harmony and domestic growth. So it's like, yeah, you want to have, certain aspects of things happen when it comes to your career. You want to let certain things go. Hold on. Also, Venus in your seventh house, you could be planning on like relationship. You could be getting into new relationships. Fourth house also, that would also indicate like with that energy with fourth house, seventh house, it could be like expanding the home with Jupiter being there. Blessings coming into the home, initiating new things, initiating new opportunities within the home. You could also be looking to move, maybe buying a new home, acquiring new things, promoting relationship harmony, domestic growth. Y'all don't even want to know where my head's going right now. But yes, so that's a lot to do with that Pisces energy. So there could be a lot of changes happening. Not only like it's kind of like the working routines and the endings that are happening. Like there's an ending that's happening that's going to allow you to actually have what you have been really working towards over the last 4 years. And it has a lot of effect in your home and family life. Okay. So that is it. That is all. We have wrapped it all up. Okay. And I am almost done with losing my voice. I'm getting raspy on y'all. Okay. So any questions on Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising before we log off and say goodnight? Thank y'all once again for being here. If you have these signs in your chart other than Sun, does that message still apply? Yes. So say for instance, so in the beginning, or what I said was like when you listen for your Sun, Moon, and your Rising, listen for all three. So your rising is first and primary. That is going to tell you exactly where this energy is happening in your chart. So therefore, how it is affecting that area of your life. Your sun sign is going to be more so about your focus and your goals. And if you are more masculine in energy, it could also resonate more with you in that way. Could also reflect your career. Your moon sign is going to be more so introspective. Is more so like your internal world, your emotional space is more subjective. It also could reflect your home, family life, your current living situations. So it just depends on like your individual chart. So just say like if you have Venus in one of these energies, and like just say if you have Venus in Aquarius and this full moon is aspecting, it's right on top of your Venus at 27 degrees, then there's definitely going to be a extra emphasis on how this is affecting you, because it will affect finances and relationships, things like that also. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. Okay, yes, go back and watch the replay. It'll be up on YouTube, and I will probably add the timestamps probably tomorrow. So yeah. You feel so conflicted. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a lot. It's a lot going on. What I would say is breathe through it. First and foremost, make sure you are journaling. Do what you need to do to stay grounded, whether that is meditation, mindfulness activities, whatever, but definitely journal. I wouldn't make any new decisions right now because we have too many planets in retrograde. So really it's a time for reflection and reassessment. So Don't make any new decisions. Just allow things to happen. Okay. Everything is happening for you. So allow it to happen for you. Where is my head going? So my guy is a Pisces. And I was reading that last part. He's Pisces sun. I was reading that last part. And his sun is in Pisces. And I was like, what he got going on? And I be trying not to know, but it's kind of hard when you are an astrologer. It's kind of hard not to know. What is being released for Pisces? Oh, so yeah, what's being released for Pisces? It is happening in your 12th house, so it's subconscious things, right? So it has a lot to do with like negative self-talk and self-sabotage, and there's just endings. So this is like natural endings happening for you. You know, it could be happening in many different things that are just naturally happening, because the 12th house is about endings and the full moon is about releasing. So that's what you're releasing. You're letting things let themselves go. Don't stand in your own way. That's self-sabotage. Mm-hmm. All right. Y'all good? We good? So y'all can meet me here next month. I will be here for the new moon. It's the, what is it, Virgo new moon? Yeah, the Virgo new moon. I will be here live next month. I will also be releasing the September astrology forecast. That is my podcast, so y'all can catch that. It's Galactic Gossip. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you won't forget. Make sure you hit the notification button so that way you get notified every time I upload something. If y'all are here in TikTok world, make sure y'all follow me and all the good things. Thank y'all for all the gifts and everything that y'all provided. I appreciate it. This is what keeps me going. I love astrology. I love sharing it. And I also love teaching it in the midst of it and making it understandable, because, you know, I know it can be a little challenging. It's like speaking a foreign language. So I try and help y'all with understanding it. So yeah. Thank y'all again. Happy full moon in Aquarius. Yeah. See y'all. Make sure y'all just breathe through it all. You'll be good. You'll be good. And if you need me, you know where to find me. Link in bio. Schedule an appointment or a consultation. Bye, y'all.